Welcome, brave souls, to Gloom Ghouls, your daily dose of adrenaline. Let's dive into a chilling tale that will leave your spine tingling. Detective Evelyn Morgan stepped out of her car, her boots crunching against the gravel, as her gaze locked onto the mansion ahead. It loomed at 53 Hollow Creek Lane, like a malevolent spectre, its jagged silhouette cut sharply against the fading twilight. The air was unnaturally still, thick with the weight of unspoken stories and local fear. The mansion's once proud facade was a shell of decay, ivy strangling its walls with a desperate purpose. An aura of abandonment emanated from the overgrown yard, each gnarled tree a silent witness to dread and whispered legends. Shadows stretched across the cracked pathway leading to the iron gates, which Morgan pushed open with a low, grating sound that sent chills down her spine. Though not superstitious, the mansion exuded something intangible. A message, "Don't enter." Yet Morgan's resolve held firm. She was here for answers. Crossing the threshold of the groaning gates felt oddly significant, as if stepping into another world. The feeling grew stronger, gnawing at her logic. When her hands touched the rotting wood of the door, it felt alive, shuddering at her presence. The door creaked open, revealing an interior shrouded in darkness, reeking of mildew and faint copper. Inside, her trained eyes scanned the dilapidation. Tattered wallpaper curled like dead leaves, floorboards groaned underfoot, and faint shadows danced at the periphery, daring her to follow. Despite her years as a detective, this place made her feel like prey. A deep inhale steadied her as oppressive silence surrounded her. This wasn't just another case, it was personal in a way she couldn't yet define. With one steady step forward, the house swallowed her whole. Morgan's flashlight sliced through the murk, illuminating muddy footprints leading deeper. Her breath hitched, fresh prints. Questions surged. Who'd been here and why? Her pulse quickened, recalling the local warnings. Stay out of the basement, people don't come back. Shrugging off the fear echo, she followed the trail into a narrowing corridor. A tall, scarred door loomed ahead, its surface clawed and desperate. Bracing herself, Morgan reached for the door. It resisted slightly, creaking open with groans that felt sentient. A biting cold swept over her, pinpricks on her skin as faint whispers teased her ears. Flashlight beam revealed a steep staircase plunging into shadow. Clutching the railing, she began her descent, the air thick and rancid. The metallic tang morphed into a staleness, and dread filled each breath. The basement was a grim spectacle, a trapdoor etched with glowing runes pulsating faintly. Kneeling, Morgan traced the carvings, goosebumps racing across her. This wasn't human. She grasped the iron ring and pulled. A groaning protest followed, revealing a vertical shaft of metal rungs descending into nothingness. Decay wafted up, and for a moment, she hesitated. But retreat wasn't an option. Swallowing the lump in her throat, she gripped the first rung, cast a final glance upward, and plunged toward the void beyond hope. Morgan landed on uneven ground as her boots clanged against the final rung. An iridescent cavern stretched endlessly before her, walls shimmering with organic green tendrils, pulsing like veins. The hum wasn't just audible, it resonated in her core, almost syncing with her heartbeat. Moving forward, the air thickened, burdened with secrets ancient and unknowable. The labyrinth rejected logic. Rooms appeared, twisted, then dissolved with each step. Shadows danced at the periphery of her gaze. Her flashlight caught glimpses, jars of malformed creatures suspended in cloudy fluids, their dead eyes following her. Books with shifting runes filled crooked shelves, their words elusive and maddening. Fighting against the disorienting environment, her breathing grew labored. Then came the scratching sound, faint but rising in clarity. She stumbled into a dazzling chamber lit with fractured light. Its focus, a swirling vortex of shadow and energy, tendrils reaching outward like sentient fingers tasting the air. The humming crescendoed into deafening reverberations, sinking with her mounting panic. Sweat poured down her face as her flashlight failed, plunging her into nothingness. Instinctively drawing her weapon, she braced for whatever unspeakable force awaited her in the abysmal dark, her only connection to reality, the cold steel in her shaking hands. Darkness crushed Morgan from all sides, the presence stalking her, morphing into something predatory. Her fingers tightened on her weapon's trigger. 3 shots roared into the void. The muzzle flash caught glimpses of rippling darkness as the bullets vanished without a trace. A sound followed, an inhuman cacophony, howls, screams, and laughter tearing at her sanity. Driven by terror-fueled determination, she ran. The labyrinth shifted relentlessly, each step twisting reality anew. Hallways stretched infinitely, folding back onto themselves. Doors dissolved under her fingers. The hum became unbearable, compressing her every thought. Stumbling forward, she found a chamber where the ground clung to her as if alive. And there, a ladder, rusted but promising escape, extended upward. Without hesitation, she climbed, the oppressive void snapping at her heels. Climbing felt eternal, each rung a battle toward freedom. Finally, she emerged, slamming the trapdoor shut as though severing the labyrinth's reach. Catching her breath on the basement floor, her body quaked, relief fleeting as a haunting thought intruded. What if the entity hadn't stayed confined? What if it had followed? Collapsing near the sealed trapdoor, Morgan felt the mansion had changed. The living malevolence was muted, replaced by an unsettling stillness. But something lingering made her doubt safety. Each staggering step toward the front door felt heavy with unseen eyes. Outside, the cool air bit into her skin. The mansion loomed quietly against the rising wind, a dark sentience persisting. As the stars above dimmed unnaturally, her mind pieced fragments of memory, the glowing runes, the swirling vortex, a force unbound by human understanding. The pulse she'd felt in the labyrinth throbbed faintly in her chest, as if the place had fused itself with her at some irrevocable level. Eyes trained on the mansion, every shadow whispered dread. Something old and unshackled now roamed freely. This wasn't over. It had only begun. Thank you so much for venturing with us here at Gloom Ghouls. If you enjoyed today's chilling tale, be sure to hit subscribe and join us for more edge-of-your-seat content. Don't forget to share this video to keep the chills going for your friends. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the darkness is always watching.